Hey, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are staying safe. Of course, this is Mr. Stokes here with another video for my 7th and 8th graders. Once again, I hope you guys are staying safe, taking all the precautions with everything going on. So, let's get down to business. Last, before we left, we were talking about harmony and chords and the different types of harmonies, if you guys remember. Now, here's what we're going to do. Check this out. Now we're going to figure out, how do we put these harmonies together? What do we use? What are we using to help? Well, there's a few different things that we use. First thing we're going to focus on is this idea of intervals, the space between two notes. Okay, so we're going to go over that, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to be working on with this time. Check it out. All right, well, here's the welcome screen if you guys remember that. All right, moving on. All right, melody, introduction. I kept that up there. But intervals, the space between pitches on the staff. Now, why is this important in harmony? Knowing what interval knowing what interval you have will determine how your harmony will sound, okay? Now, it's super important because the closer the intervals, the more the pitches are going to sound very similar. The wider the interval, the more they're going to sound different, from one being really low and one being really high, and you really will hear the difference, okay? For this exercise and for this week, we're only going to focus on 4 different intervals. We're going to talk about unison, which is the same pitch. We're going to talk about major second, 2 pitches side by side. We're going to talk about major third, this is a skip. And then we're going to talk about perfect fifth, 3 skips. Now, when we get into chords, 2 of these intervals we will be using almost exclusively, more than the other 2, but we'll get to that later. So moving on to the next slide, here is a diagram of all of the intervals if we're just using the C major scale. Okay, so if you look, you see unison, they're right next to each other. Second, you got one here, one above. Third, and as you see, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so your assignment's going to be, you are going to have to identify the intervals that are presented to you, and for you, I'm going to do a little demonstration for you. Okay, so that way you will know exactly what you need to do. 1. All right. Now, here's the site that we will be using from now on as far as getting our assignments done. Okay, the site is called Tone Savvy, and it allows you to do exercises online based off of what we've been working on. So, you will enter your username, and then you're going to enter your password. And then don't forget the teacher code at the bottom. You have to have that otherwise you will not be brought to me. You'll log in. Okay, and then you'll see the assignment set. And right here it tells you when it's due. I will change this due date. This is not the due date. The due date that is correct will be on Google Classrooms. So you can go view. And then we've got 2. We've got interval building and interval identification. So let's try this. We're going to do interval building. We're going to do now. Okay. Now, here's what I did. I actually put in a YouTube video. So if you guys want to go over it and have someone just kind of explain it a little bit more, you have that for you. I made this very easy because we're only starting with C. We will get into the other letters later, just not right now. So you go through it, go all the way down, hit start quiz. Okay, so it's asking for a perfect unison. A perfect unison is the same note. So where would I put this? I'm going to put it right next to the C. So put it right next to the C. And it's right, and it provides the pitch that goes along with it. Now, perfect octave. All right. Go up to the C. And then that's how that works. Okay. All right. So now that guys know how to do it, tips for identifying intervals. Here's a real quick tip. If the number is an odd number, meaning if it's a unison, which is number 1, If it's a third, fifth, or seventh, then both notes will be on the same line or space. I'm sorry, not the same line. They will both be on a line or they will both be on a space. Okay? That if you see both of them on a line or both of them on a space, it's going to be an odd number. Okay? If the number is even, 2, second, a fourth, a sixth, or an octave, then one note's going to be on a line and the other note's going to be on the space. So to help you with this project, I gave you 4 intervals. I gave you a unison, which is 1. I gave you a second. I gave you a third, and I gave you a fifth. So and an octave. So these two are going to be on either a line and space, one on line, one on space. Well, where these 3 are going to both be on a space, or line. Okay, so all right, and the last one is interval identification. Where interval building, they want you to place the second note in the appropriate line or space. With this one, they're already going to have those completed. So all you need to do when you start the quiz is listen, and then they're going to ask you what the interval is. With this one, you have the choices. So right here, you've got 1, 2. This would be a second. And they would ask what interval quality is going to be major. Okay. The only time you're going to use perfect is when you do fifth. So that's a fifth because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth, perfect. Okay. One more. 1, 2. Second, major. And that's how this quiz is done. Well, that's what we got to get done for this week, okay? If you've got any questions, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible, okay? Because the goal is by the end of all of this, if we're going to be doing this for a while, I want you guys to be constructing your own chords, like here on the piano, okay? Well, until then, this is Mr. Stokes. Take it easy. Make sure you're making it happy. I said happy. Making it happen. Yeah, we all make mistakes. And make some music out there.